We spawn into the world of Solaire of Astora. Praise it! It's not actually Solaire. It never is. It's just a guy with a Fumeltra greatsword. We catch back up after some inventory management with some opportunistic backstabs. Nice little chain there, but Rusty Greatsword recently described my channel as being a place where I could rant about things in this game that pissed me off. So here we go. This is going to be a rant/ramble about things that piss me off, because there are a lot of them in this invasion. Things that I consider inherently unbalanced to some degree. Thing number one, we've already seen a little bit. Thing number one is great shields, or honestly, just high stability, 100% physical block shields. I remember distinctly an instance, not in this invasion, at one point, where I kicked a Great Shield of Glory twice, and then hit it with 5 R1s from a Gale's Greatsword with Knight's Layering on, and it did not crack. Like, that's just ridiculous. That shouldn't be possible. The entire premise of a kick is to get rid of shields, and Great Shield of Glory has such idiotic stability that there's literally no way through it for a physical build, outside of, Warpick or something with actual shield chip, but that opportunity isn't always there in a gank, and nothing pisses me off more than watching someone play through the entire game essentially cheesing it just by holding L1, never having to think about timing, never having to think about spacing. They just walk up and hold L1, and they win. That's all they do. So anyway, that's thing number one. Even though the Black Knight shields and Lothric Knight shield, their stability is just too high. You see me swapping here to a simple Cestus so I can do a whole 3 chip damage through his big-ass Havel's Great Shield, which is maybe even an exception. I don't care if they take 50 strength to use. Like, they're just ridiculous. They're too powerful. The only reason people use Black Knight Shield over them in a duel is because it's a weapon art shield and has comparable stability, which on a medium shield is even more bonkers. And on top of that, obviously, Black Knight and Lothric Knight Shield only require 18 strength instead of 50 or whatever. So they have way more utility in terms of being viable on a dark build or dex build or whatever build. You can use that on basically any meta level build because 18 strength is super cheap at this level. Anyway, thing number 2 that pisses me off is definitely lag. FromSoft, add a ping filter. Please get these lag lords off my server. It's not a server. It's peer-to-peer. But you get my point. Anyway. Lag and things not working how they should in this game kind of bothers me at this point. But anyway, on we go. Thing number 3, now that we've sort of inserted lag as thing number 2. Thing number 3 is the Seed of the Tree of Giants, or whatever you want to call it, whatever it's called in this game. Giant tree seed thing. Giant tree seed thing is... This idea is also shamelessly stolen from Rusty Greatsword. In 2019... Actually, not even in 2019, because it's not super dependent on the player base. There we go. There it goes. There's the seed. It is an outdated mechanic. It no longer holds relevancy. The original intention of the Seed of the Tree of Giants was to make passive invaders who were engaging 1v1 against a solo host, not be able to do that anymore. That's why it lasted forever. They were like, you know what, invader? Yeah, fuck you. You can't hide out by the enemies like a great old bitch. You gotta engage the solo host. We're very sorry, but you're gonna have to man up and grow some balls and go fight him. But the thing is, obviously, gang squads abuse this to no end. They would just sit by the bonfire in a 4-man squad, and then, what was the invader supposed to do? They couldn't hide in the enemies because they were fucked if they did that, and they couldn't really engage in the bonfire room, the 4v2, because they were fucked if they did that. So they just kind of died a lot. That was basically how it ended up. So the seed got nerfed. But also, around the same time the seed got nerfed, something else happened. The Blades of the Dark Moon got buffed. They got a crazy big summoning range. And there were like 2 of them in the world at all times. And they, in my opinion, essentially should have replaced what the seed was originally intended to do. If the invader isn't, going to engage a solo host at the bonfire, they can put on Way of Blue, because every solo host has that, except for maybe people at the very beginning at the High Wall of Lothric. But almost entirely, every solo host has Way of Blue. That should be your answer to an invader who refuses to engage you in a 1v1. The answer should not be the seed anymore. The blues have made it unnecessary. Thing number 3 or 4 that pisses me off. The fact that blues get instantly resummoned to replace members of gang squads. In this situation, I guess it wasn't quite instant, but I have had many an instant where I kill a phantom, and within 30 seconds they have been replaced by a Blade of the Dark Moon. Sometimes they're just free Estus refills, I acknowledge this, but at the same time, if the gankers at least had to try a little to resummon, instead of just having literally an auto resummon gank covenant, I think that would be an improvement. The way I would basically balance it, because I think, obviously, there should be some level of support for co-opers, or even more for solo hosts, would be you can either have summons or blue spirits if you have a dried finger active. Because the idea behind a dried finger is perhaps that, you're trying to co-op with 4 friends, but at the same time, it also means that you're, accepting and looking for PvP. You can't really get mad about getting invaded when you've used a dried finger. And you can't really get mad about, not having enough help when you have a dried finger, because you have 4 people. I don't think Dark Moons should be summoned to help a dried finger world, because they're not really protecting the weak anymore, people who are afraid of PvP. They are protecting people who are fully conscious of what they have done, at least they should be, and there is no need for them to get extra protection. They are plenty protected, just as they are. On top of that, the blue summon range is absolutely ridiculous. I believe as a 36+4 invader in the swamp, you can invade into the world of a 55+6 host, who can then summon a level 80+8 Dark Moon to fight you, a 36+4 invader, which is just absurd. Anyway, there's no reason for blues to be as idiotic of a covenant as they are. They should be balanced better. So anyway, thanks for listening to my mildly salty rant. It's not really salty, it's more like sadness over game balance, but which is kind of absurd to be thinking about in 2019. But I don't know. I gotta talk about something in this game. There's not that much left to talk about. So anyway, be good to one another, y'all. Keep it silly.